Welcome to the ARC Entrepreneur Podcast, the podcast where ideas ignite, clarity strikes, and those aha moments are born. I'm Daniel.
I'm Derek, one half of the duo at ARC. Here, we're not just talking about business. We're sparking connections and uncovering real solutions for real entrepreneurs.
We are not gurus. We're entrepreneurs just like you, asking the questions every entrepreneur wants to ask, and even some you haven't thought of yet.
Yes, we'll sit down with the experts and business thought leaders, but we're also shining a light on the everyday entrepreneurs, the ones grinding it out in their shops, offices, or even their living rooms.
This podcast isn't about chasing billion-dollar valuations. It's about building the kind of success that fits your goals.
Whether you're dreaming of launching the next big tech startup, growing a side hustle, or just finding smarter ways to support your family, this is the place for you.
We're here to share real-world answers, proven methods, and resources to help you create the life you want to live.
Because at the end of the day, business is about more than profits. It's about possibilities.
So let's spark something great together. Welcome to the ARC. Let's dive in.
All right, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast, the ARC Entrepreneur Podcast. Should probably say the entire name. That would help. Welcome to the ARC Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Daniel, and I'm here today with Derek Stone, and we have a special guest with us, as we always do. We had some great conversations in the last few episodes. We've gotten to meet some amazing people that have some amazing stories. So we're looking forward to today. We hope you found something that's really helped you in your entrepreneur journey, that's helped you in your personal life, that's helped you kind of understand yourself and understand the business. So we are going to, as we get more and more episodes in, we're going to try to get as many different type of entrepreneurs or people that are even remotely connected to the entrepreneur world to give as many perspectives as we possibly can. Because I think the biggest thing that keeps a lot of people from being an entrepreneur are the unknowns. It's a big risk. You got to take that jump. But I think there's that point where you have just enough information where you're comfortable enough to make that jump. Not completely safe, but comfortable enough to make that jump. So if we can get you a little bit faster to that point, that's what we're here to do today. So, Derek, how you doing today?
Yeah, I am ready. And I tell you what, we're now coming up here doing our fourth one, and I've been in business going on 8 years and been around business for a long time. And in these last 3 episodes, I can tell you I've gained a wealth of knowledge. It's just amazing getting perspectives from different people. And we've been in business classes with guys, and we learned a lot in those business classes. But these last 3 episodes, just getting inside the mind of people one-on-one basis has been tremendous. It has been just phenomenal.
It's been absolutely amazing. And we're going to take a look at people's businesses too. So we're doing something called On Location. In fact, you're going to see Derek's business first. So we went to Derek's shop. He wouldn't let us talk to any of his employees, which is kind of suspicious.
Look,
no, we just took it.
Miguel,
we took a little.
It's terrible.
We took a little tour of his shop and talked about his business, how he got into it a little bit. Probably most people have never seen a gutter business. I know I've never seen a gutter business. I assumed you just ordered it from Walmart and stapled it to the side of your house. So that's the extent of my construction experience. But I learned a lot.
It's not
I
far.
learned a lot.
You learn it's not far from that. Not too far from that.
Right. Is it Snap-on? Is that what it is?
Pretty close. And we just put a little lipstick on it and make it look for a year, and that's it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the problem is every time I talk to somebody, another entrepreneur, I'm like, I want to do that business.
Well, it is.
I want to do that one. By the end of it, I may have started 58 companies that I don't have time to run, but I want to do it all. That's my problem sometimes. But anyway, well, awesome. Today we have Emily Bishop with us. Hello, Emily. How are you today?
Hello. I'm wonderful.
Awesome.
I'm excited to do this. This is my first podcast. You guys are my first podcast. So let's jump into it. I'm going to just stay relaxed and try to treat it like a normal day.
There you go. That's it.
Well, and also, I hate to disappoint you, but this is for no pay. This is, if I led you on in any way, you're going to be disappointed with the paycheck.
That's a normal day sometimes, guys. You know,
there you right? Okay.
It's okay.
Welcome to entrepreneurship, right? Emily Bishop is a commercial real estate agent, first and foremost, with Alliance Real Estate here in Pensacola, Florida. Okay. But she also owns the Goddess brand, which is a shoe brand for, I believe, a very niche market in our country. And has it's an online brand, and she travels and she pushes that brand. And so she comes from a very unique perspective, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs at heart are kind of like serial entrepreneurs. They've always got something going. All right. They're trying something else or trying something new. Rarely does an entrepreneur just have one thing going, right? Rarely just have one business or one source of income. So I'm very excited to hear from Emily today and how you came across this, how you came in this journey of business and on your own and where you started. So Emily, I'm going to throw it to you. Tell us just kind of a little bit of background about you and how you came to where you are today with these two businesses.
Oh, goodness. Where to start? I mean, I've always enjoyed the arts, and I've always enjoyed pushing myself to do things that are out of the ordinary and that I don't see a lot of other people doing. I've always been interested in kind of cracking the code to this economy and doing something of my own, but I wasn't sure what that looked like. You know, in high school, for example, I just know that I was an artistic hippie kid, and, you know, I was interested in doing something that was my personal brand one day, but I didn't know what that meant. I went to college and I was set on becoming a therapist. So I got my bachelor's in psychology, and then I started getting my master's in psychology. And this is right around the time where I started getting lost. You know, like, I didn't know even what I believed in. I was so lost. I was traveling kind of all over the place trying to find myself, which I was very blessed to do because I was working through the school. I was like the marketing director for the school I was at in California. And just traveling a lot. I started to pursue professional dance in Chicago. I was a franchise director for a Chicago company in Destin, Florida. My schooling was online. And this guy who was my coach.
I'm asking, how do you, did you say you did dance training online or training on the franchise?
My master's degree was online, which, you know, that's...
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out how you got dance to line. That was pretty cool.
Well,
we could do that.
You know, you actually can these days. There's a lot of things that people have streamlined to make it possible online, but of course, I wouldn't have preferred that at all. So I was living in Chicago. I was living on in a guy's. He was a massage therapist, and I was living in his massage therapy room, and sleeping on like this little cot. And then for the other part of my time in Chicago, I was sleeping on. I was interning at a media studio called Indie Media Studios. He shot commercials. He did fashion shoots. He was a professional photographer. And I stayed on his rollout couch with his other roommates. And then I would intern at his studio. And then I would go train with this company. And the guy who ended up being my mentor and my coach, we ended up not really working well together at all. I don't really like being micromanaged, and that's what sort of ended up happening because we were training to be competitive dancers at the Salsa Bachata World Championships. That was definitely the focus of this company. And the training was really intense. It was like it was kind of like being smoked all the time, like in the military. And also just, it was definitely a mind game for sure. And it was an interesting look into this industry and how people who are very smart and good at moving people emotionally, physically, spiritually, can kind of have a grasp over, all the artists in a particular genre. Because, artists were very emotional, were very kind of going with the flow in life a lot of the times. So it's very easy to be taken advantage of. So that was a perspective that I gained. But I just realized we didn't really work well together, and that it was getting way too personal, way too invasive for me. So, but I had kind of formed my identity around this company. It had changed my life in so many ways. It taught me how to work really, really hard, to push myself to my limits, and to really put something out there artistically that was, kind of like my 100%.
Right.
So that was my identity, and I shattered that because I just knew that, it was stressing me out like crazy. And I just knew that I wanted to be independent. I didn't really want to be a part of a clique. I didn't really want to have to answer to someone for like every little thing that I did. So I stepped away from that, which was an identity crisis in and of itself. At the same time, it's kind of funny. In 2020, I fell in love with an Italian guy, right? I'm following my heart less now. I'm using logic more now. But in the past, I was very much, follow my heart.
It's the hair,
And,
I think.
it's the
I think
hair.
that's what does it for Italian guys. It's not fair.
Oh, that's
Is it,
funny.
Derek? Is it?
That's right. That's why I got rid of it.
Well,
That's right.
well, I fell in love with this guy. He fell in love with me, and I was kind of back and forth from Italy too. So I was
You're a
starting
real
to like
Italian
run
guy.
the franchise. Yeah. So I was starting to like run the franchise, the in-person franchise that was from the Chicago company. I was starting to run that remotely from Italy. And then I would travel from Italy to Chicago, or I would travel from Destin to Chicago to try to like make all this stuff work. And then I realized, man, I really want to pursue business in America, because in Italy, their economy was really rough at the time.
It was.
It still is. It's really difficult to even be a licensed professional in that field, because there's just there's so little jobs and so much demand to be in whatever job you want to be in. So I recognized that, and I knew, it's like, dang, I've got to stay in America. But, he was in the Navy there, and he had an established career. And so I ended up breaking things off, which was really hard. So I entered into like one of the hardest periods of my life, because I was working myself so hard that I actually got sick. So I was sick. I had just, my heart was broken. I had just separated myself from this company that I had put so much of my identity into. And I was just in a place of pure chaos, basically. I didn't really know what my next steps were. And I was just praying to God for some sort of answer. I also realized I didn't want to be a therapist. I was like, look at me right now. Look at, you think that you want to help people, and you think that you can help people, but sometimes helping people hurts people. Does that make sense? And sometimes the help that you think that people need from you is actually not going to be that good for them, because sometimes you don't know what you're doing. So that's what I recognized in myself. So yeah. So I took a step back and still wanting to pursue dance. And then that is when I met who would become my husband. His name was Adam. And God, he was a West Coast swing professional. He had been doing that stuff for many years, and he was once at the top. He was like top 200 in the world for what he did, and he was a professional, and he traveled all over Europe and all over the world teaching West Coast swing. His name was Adam Sanborn, and we became closer friends. I had known him before, but we became closer friends. He was actually going through cancer treatment. He had just found out he had stage 4 cancer, and he introduced me to this book called it's Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. And yeah, we all, I think a lot of us, especially entrepreneurs, people who need to really get something done and set goals and make a plan, that concept, I didn't really understand it. I have to set
make
a goal,
your bed,
and I have to have steps to get to that goal. So that concept was kind of out of my mind. I thought that if I just went with the flow of things, that everything would just work out. But through that book changed my life. And in a major way, it helped me to center myself and figure out, okay, what do I want to do? What is my vision for the future? And what steps can I take to get there? So he introduced me to that book, and, we started talking, getting to know each other more. And he said, Emily, I really see you as a goddess. And I was like, you know what? I kind of see myself as a goddess too. I think I can embody those regal qualities, that refined confidence, and I can be a sort of a guide for young women to do something that they've never done before. Maybe it's difficult. Maybe they see something for their future, a dream that they have, but it's just it seems so far away, like they could never achieve something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so inspired by what Jordan was saying in his book that I decided to create a brand philosophy from that inspiration. And it's connecting to your most powerful self, connecting you to your most powerful self. Essentially the person that God intended for you to be. It's like self-actualization. How do you reach that point through an artistic medium like dance, but also through the shoes. So the shoes became a part of the brand as well. So I knew that I loved to dance and that I could teach very well. And now I wanted to incorporate a product into the mix that I could use as something that was infinitely resellable to support my dance career and support me in general, because I didn't want to continue to sell my time. I wanted to have something that was infinitely resellable. So we started working on it together. We definitely fell in love, me and Adam. He was my soulmate, definitely. And we started working on it together because he had seen a lot of stuff in the industry already for dance shoes. I've been wanting to penetrate the fashion market in general, but I haven't really done that yet. It's been mostly dance focused, which is great because I think in this era, people want something very niche that's targeted specifically towards them and what they want and what they need. It's very much towards those niche markets. Something more general, it's like, well, I can get that anywhere, because the algorithm, everything is very specific to that individual. So someone wants something that really speaks to them personally. So that's the route I chose, was the dance shoes.
Sure.
These shoes are high quality leather. They're made for dancers. They're made for professional dancers who want to dance, 4, 5, 6 hours straight in the studio. That's what they need to do. They hold up very well. They're very snug on the foot. And that is my differentiation. The thing that makes the shoes stand out is that they're very high quality, whereas a lot of people, they want, the vegan shoes because they say it's vegan, but really those people are saying it's vegan because they want to get away with polyurethane or like fake leather.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what a vegan shoe. We're not eating
what is a vegan shoe? Yeah, it's polyurethane leather. It's fake leather, which is much less expensive to make. So my shoes ended up being pretty expensive, but I still managed to create a good margin and something that people can afford, because it is an investment in a nice quality shoe.
So where do you get have you partnered with a manufacturer, or how do you get, you're not making these yourself in your house, I'm assuming.
No, I partner with a manufacturer, and that requires a lot of time, discussion, attention to detail, measuring the width of the foot, the length of the foot, and also designing the shoe. So Adam, my then boyfriend at the time, started to design these shoes, and design the logo, all these things. And we just started to create this brand together, this goddess brand. What is a goddess? Because we noticed that not a lot of people are really using the goddess things. More spiritual, how do you say, spiritual yoga type crowds use the word goddess, but you don't really hear goddess being used in the dance world
Southeastern
or
United
in the fashion
States
world.
Yeah.
So that's like good opportunity, right? To kind of stand out and be different. So that's what we did. We started to figure out, okay, well, what are the things that truly make up a goddess? What are the values that a goddess has? So we started to create a value system for what it means to be a goddess, that women in not only when they see the shoes they can see those values, but also when they do the dance program that I had at the time, and it was called Goddess Heels, and it was a dance program for women that was jazz and ballet based, that taught them how to walk in high heels, stand in high heels, and dance in high heels, which is what the shoes are. These dance shoes are high heels. They're about 3.5 to 4 inches on average high heel. And, it sounds scary at first, but that's also the alluring part of it too, right? That this is something that, maybe these women have always wanted to be able to do, walk around in these heels and to be able to sport them with a confidence and a regality and an ease of movement that, sets them apart socially and in their own minds. And so I was giving them an avenue to be able to do that and to be able to dance in them. A lot of them were moms who just wanted to get their confidence back. Some of them were, young women younger than I was, which gave me the opportunity to kind of help them if they were in a place where they didn't know where they wanted to be in life, that this was a great way to help them focus, because it's depending on what they wanted to do, it can be very rigorous training to learn how to dance. And we kind of used that rigorous training and that challenge to show women, well, if you can do this, which is challenging physically, mentally, and emotionally, then you can also follow whatever dreams that you have, and you can embody that innermost powerful self, that confidence.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
So it sounds like, money obviously is what you're hoping to get from it, right? But it sounds to me like value to these women is more important to you than anything that they can ever return to you, right? So obviously money is important. That's why we get into business. But we know that if we pour enough value in, if we pour enough of our soul into it, the money just comes, right? That's just inevitable. And so everything you've talked about for the last few minutes has just been about how much value you put on other people, how much you value them and their time and their efforts into what they're putting into their dance and their movements and their life. And I think that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, that definitely exemplifies a goddess for sure.
I think we're seeing a shift. I think we're seeing a shift in our country. I think we're seeing more people like you, Emily, that have a different starting point for business than a lot of people traditionally, maybe. There are some people that go straight into a business and say, this business model is going to make me the most money the quickest.
Yeah.
And then get out. There's a lot of people that just start a business in order to sell it, especially in the tech world, right? That's how they make their money. They just want to get in, get out. You're seeing a lot more people like you, Emily, that are starting businesses with a purpose first and saying, how can I create a business that allows me to accomplish this purpose and also meet financial goals? Like Derek said, there's only one reason really to start a business, that is to make money. If you don't want to make money, you start a nonprofit, right? Or your business fails, right? But being able to couple those two things together, to have a purpose, and I think that's what so many people are looking for. I just want what I do to mean something, right? Yeah. And you find that perfect, if you can find that perfect business that allows you to do something that means something. And I'm always hesitant to say, find something you love and do it and make it a business. Because eventually, if you do that, you're going to hate it.
You don't want to ruin it.
It's not always, and it's not always a good business. To be quite honest with you, it's not always a good business, the things you love. But to love what you do is different. To be able to love the work that you're doing for the purpose that you're doing it. If you have something that's overarching, then you don't. When you have a bad day, it's not like you want to throw everything away from it. So, I think that's great. I want to, Emily, one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on, I actually met you in a real estate investment meeting several weeks ago. And in this meeting, you're talking about, being a goddess and how to be able to, portray or I guess kind of exude those kind of values and qualities. During these meetings, they usually have people that come up. They, especially their service, a lot of times they're contractors or they're, hey, I've got this service and I do this. So all you real estate investors out there, call me, blah, 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 blah. I got this house for sale. And Emily walked up. She was the last one in line. And usually the guys are very, it can be a little used car salesman-y a lot, on those kind of, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. And they're trying to be high energy and, that kind of thing. And you walked up calm, cool, and collected and took that mic. And the first word you said, everybody went, the whole room just went, like everybody kind of leaned in. And even the guy that was leading it after you got done said, did anybody notice a change in the room when she started talking? He's like, I wanted to listen to that again. I think your life experience and just your value system of how you approach things really exuded very quickly. Because I was like, she's learned something, and I think our people want to hear that. I was happy to see that you came to our entrepreneur group as well, so we were able to follow up that connection and lead it today. So, that's amazing. You got the Goddess brand. So how do you? Is it a full-time business or it's completely online? How does it work for you?
Well, the online part is where I lack experience in that realm, and I'm slowly working up to it. I do most of...
Wanted to take a minute to introduce you to our sponsor for this episode. Overpower Marketing, located in Pensacola, Florida, is a premier full-service digital marketing agency with over a decade of experience. They specialize in delivering cutting-edge solutions tailored to boost your online presence, attract customers, and drive sales growth. Their expertise includes search engine optimization, pay-per-click or PPC advertising, social media marketing, reputation management, and web design and development. Overpower Marketing takes the complexity out of digital marketing, allowing businesses to focus on their core strengths while they handle every aspect of your digital strategy. Businesses looking to thrive in the digital age can contact Overpower Marketing for a free consultation. You can visit them at www.overpowermarketing.com. Email them at info@overpowermarketing.com or take it old school and give them a ring. 850-972-2666. That's 850-972-2666. And give them a holler on their Facebook and YouTube page and a follow and tell them we sent you. Overpower Marketing, your trusted partner for the business aiming to achieve remarkable success in the digital world.
My stuff in person. Now, most of my shoe sales and my solo professional dancing, like doing gigs and getting hired to teach workshops at festivals, that's all in person. So the model that I developed for me, which I don't know of who else is doing that at this stage in my career. Like I said, it was only in like 2021 that I broke away and started doing my solo professional dance journey. So I got hired for my first festival in Canada, which was that was my dream. My dream was one of my goals was to get hired for a festival. So I got hired and I said, okay, here's how I'm going to do it. Yep. I'm going to teach a workshop and I'm going to display my shoes at the same time as I teach the workshop. And I'm going to portray my brand very clearly because I am, like we were saying, I am a representative of my own brand. So I'm going to portray some of those values and ask those questions and talk about it a little bit. And I'm also going to present the shoes and explain why having a dance shoe that is high quality is so important. I'm going to teach my class, and then I'm going to direct those people to my vendor table. So I go to these festivals and I'm either a vendor just by itself or I'm an instructor and a vendor. So as an instructor, I think that I can kind of funnel those sales a little bit, especially if it's at a large festival where you've got like 20, 30 people in one room, and you've also got a lot of traffic traveling to all of these different workshops. People are just walking by, and my shoes are extremely sparkly. So
they should
you'll see people, they'll walk by and they'll be like, ooh,
I think we knew
see
that
the shoes
without you saying that.
So they'll see the shoes and they'll be like, oh, I don't know, my husband might be really mad if I buy these shoes. So it's interactions like that.
Don't worry, we usually don't notice. That's fine.
They don't notice. Yeah, that's so. That's mostly where most of my sales happen for my shoes is in person at these events, at these dance events, which has been great. I love the process of learning how to do personal selling and to really relate to someone face to face and figure out what they need. Because ultimately you got to choose a problem. I mean, my problem that I'm seeing is that people are getting really low quality shoes and they're breaking after 3 months. So that was the first problem I identified for the product. As for the brand, the first problem I identified was the culture that I'm seeing right now. And I wanted to take a step away from the modern idea of feminism and be like, well, it's not like you're just this perfect person and that everyone has to like accept you and everything. I mean, that's not really how the world works. You have to mold yourself into a good person. Plug in my computer, sorry. You need to mold yourself into a good person, into someone who can contribute to society, because, you know, life is difficult and life will corrupt you and life will bring you down, and it can cause you to be someone that is not doing good for the world. And maybe you think that you are, especially if you're living within a particular mental framework and idea that, you know, everything is love and we should just all love and accept each other. You've got to mold yourself into the person that you want to become. It's not going to just happen. So that was another issue I saw that I wanted to address. So it was 2 problems, and I only know how to do it in person right now. So to answer your question.
I mean, you touched on something. I mean, if you're doing something value-based, you're going to hit those, especially in our country right now. It's like people are, like you said, well, here I am. I know I've had so many employees over the years, they had bad behavior, bad performance or bad attitudes. And they would just say, well, that's just me.
That's just me.
And, I have to go, well, then that's not good enough. It's not about if you're not improving yourself, why are you here? Why are we still breathing? You weren't born the way you're going to end up. And it's, I mean, to quote Jordan Peterson, I like to read something like a lot of, especially when he talks about parenting. He says, what probably the top purpose for a parent in raising their children is to raise children that people will actually like.
Yeah.
He said, if you can do that, you've set them up for a better life of improving themselves. And not being pushovers, not being, just the lovey-dovey, and agree with everything, but somebody that can actually interact with other people in a positive way, that can make an impact and that can improve. And I think if you want to improve, and I think this comes to a core of where our culture is, where we lack. If you want to improve, you have to have a spirit of humility, because you can never learn unless you're humble enough to realize I'm wrong and I'm not where I need to be, right? That's the first realization.
Yeah.
We don't see that very often from people. They bust into the room. Sometimes people think, well, I'm a goddess. I got it all figured out, right? This is me. I'm it. I'm the pinnacle. But I think what you're doing is trying to push those kind of values for people that can help them build that kind of confidence, help them build that kind of character, help them build them into somebody, even through something like a shoe, which I never think of. Of course, that's just me. But how important that is, especially in dance. My wife did dance for a long time, was in ballet in California for many, many years. That's why she has no cartilage in her knees. But how important and integral that is, and how you're reaching that niche market in a very powerful way. And I think that's awesome. And you're trying to do it into more of an online, kind of expand that kind of experience. That's a tough business to be in. There's so many people in online business today. It's like, who do we follow? What do we do? Right? Where do we even start on a lot of that kind of stuff? So,
especially when you have a niche market, you don't have as many examples to follow, because everybody's trying to do, the cookie cutter, as you're talking about, the cookie cutter shoe thing. Well, it's easy to follow those guys. But if you don't have the examples of somebody trying to do the meaningful work, How do you grow an online presence? You don't have somebody to follow behind. And really,
I don't.
Set the template.
Yeah, you got to set the template. You got to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah, I do want to stand out, and I don't see a lot of people really putting a brand philosophy that's very strong and integrated into something like selling shoes. But I have noticed, the way that these like high fashion brands are doing things and how they're selling to the masses. And I think, why not do something similar in my advertisements? Like really create a high quality commercial and advertisement and then push that. But there's also the matter of understanding these online programs that help you with advertising, like Google Ads, and navigating all those things. That is something I'm not experienced in. I'm really experienced with like cold calling and like cold messaging people and using Facebook ads, for example, to get people to come to events. And then now they feel like they're a part of something. And now they want to be a part of this dance program. And now they want to purchase a shoe, So a lot of the stuff I do is just in person. But I'd say the most money I've made is just obviously from the shoes, which was my intention, and just being a vendor and having people walk by and see some really sparkly shoes, and then seeing someone who's maybe well dressed and has a very charming attitude and is very confident and is wearing the shoes. And that is what kind of captivates them, and it happens very quickly. So that's where I've really made my money, is as a vendor.
That's the best advertisement. You as a business owner, we're the best advertisement for our business, but that's got a limited reach. And I think you're reflecting what a lot of, if not most, entrepreneurs, especially new into business, think when it comes to marketing. Where do I start? I mean, there's Facebook ads, there's Google ads. Everybody wants me to pay for a click or for a view. And am I getting a return on that? I have no idea what's going on. You don't really realize it until your life depends on those advertisements to bring people in. Where do I put my money?
Your life depends on it.
Do you know what I mean?
I think you're the best advertiser, though, because you got the experience with the dancing. So you're not just somebody who's selling a product. You're not just a salesman. You know the product, so you can wear it and do everything that you're expecting these people to do with them, right? So you just need somebody, and you live in the panhandle of Florida, along the beaches. You just need somebody to video you and put it on a TikTok, on a Facebook Reel, on a YouTube short, and allow that to be your commercial. And that hits.
I've got a lot of content. I've got a lot of content that I just haven't put into real format, or format for social media. I haven't made it into content that might have like something helpful in it, to add value to what people want, help them out somehow. I don't have that set up. So
I picture you personally. I just picture you, during the dancing in, like a downtown area, down the street, or out by the beach or something like that. You put that on a video and you put that on a TikTok, and it shows it and puts a flair into it. And it draws that attention. And those are quick videos, and it draws attention. And then that swings people to your website, and it doesn't take more than a 10, 12-second video to change a lot. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Me and Dan were talking about this before we got on earlier, that sometimes when you start a business, it starts off with duct tape, right? You put things together until you can afford the big production and all these big cameras and all this stuff. You work with what you can work with, so you can afford all that. Sometimes that works even better. You get a better net return.
I call it the MacGyver stage. It's shoelaces, duct tape, and a paperclip. Always a paperclip somewhere in there. But but to me, that's the most fun part of the entrepreneur part, trying to, I got to build a bridge and all I've got are a bunch of toothpicks and some glue and a couple of sticks. You got to figure out how to get over there. I think that really teaches you a lot about yourself. Yeah. And I mean, something I learned, the hard way is entrepreneurs, we want to do everything ourselves.
Man.
Because I'm the only one that can do it right. You know what I mean? So it's, there's so many tools out there and so many people that do it better than I ever could. Because there's just marketing. You could be full-time in marketing and still never learn everything about marketing. There's entire people out there. So, there's probably entrepreneurs out there thinking the exact same thing you are. I can go out there and video stuff. How do I get people to watch it? How do I format it? It takes a long time. I mean, I spent 4 hours yesterday just trying to get videos that we had taken with Derek just to load on my computer. Right. Right. And then you're frustrated. And I haven't really done anything that gets it out there so people can actually see this amazing content because I'm struggling to figure out how to, just to get the video in the right format or to get it over here into where it needs to be. Those are frustrations that every entrepreneur goes through. Now, some people go, no, Derek, you've used marketing companies in the past. And, it's hit or miss. There's a saying in marketing, everything works and nothing works.
That's right.
Yep. I would say with one exception, that in-person marketing is probably the most effective, but it's limited. It is limited. Because you've got to have, if you want to grow your business, you've got to think of scalability. You can't be everywhere, Emily. You can't be in Canada every single weekend doing a festival.
Trust me, I'm trying, but you're absolutely right. I'd love to outsource. I'd love to just get my stuff in front of a lot of people. Now, here's something that I've run into that's a potential issue for me that maybe, if I put it out there, you guys might have some input on it. But my shoes have a red bottom sole. Now, the actual stiletto part doesn't have the red, so it's not like a full red sole, which I did because I got a cease and desist from Christian Louboutin about it. And I don't really know. I guess I kind of felt happy about it when I got the letter because I was like, oh.
Like they saw me.
Notoriety.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I've never gotten a cease and desist for great ideas. So
for great ideas, right?
Nobody noticed.
So, and I think my shoes are definitely right on par with theirs. I think I've just got really high quality stuff. My thing is, I put it on. I was using Shopify first. Now I'm using Square because Shopify. Christian Louboutin told them, "Hey, I don't like what she's doing," and so they shut down my store. Now, Shopify for me was not as user friendly, but I went to Squarespace and that was actually a lot nicer. And I haven't really been shut down, although I have been putting like I'll put goddess, over the sole a little bit. Like I'll put. I'll have a picture of the model and then I'll have the shoe and then I'll have like a text and it'll kind of just go over the sole a little bit. And I've been looking at like different lawsuits that they've had with different people. And I've seen that really it's an issue of, is it the red sole or is it the specific color of red? So, I mean, that's me and Adam, we made these shoes we designed them in 2020, beginning of 2022. So we've had these for a while. And I'm just looking to the future, the more that I put myself out there on the internet, the more pushback I'm going to get from this giant of a company. And, what is that going to look like in the future? What am I going to do when, they actually do try to sue me. So I thought that was something interesting to bring to the table. I don't hear a lot of people in my position having to get a cease and desist from such a large company,
Probably good news is you probably won't have a hard time finding a lawyer that would love to go after a Louis Vuitton, something like, a company like that. That's a high profile case. So you probably won't have a hard time finding someone to help you out with it.
And hey, if it's a high profile case, I might just end up getting a lot of publicity from it, which...
Hey, no publicity is bad.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Try to get it a different way if you can, but right? Well, that's an amazing story, and we definitely, that's exciting because I want to have you back in like a few months and see how it's progressing and what you're learning and what it's showing you. But you also, and we are at 50 minutes. I told you we try to keep it to it. You're also a commercial real estate agent, right? So nothing you've talked about so far has sparked anything that said you wanted to go into commercial real estate. So tell me, how did that come about? And why are you in commercial real estate? I want to talk about it a little bit too, because there's a lot of people out there that love real estate. That's where they want to go. So tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got into it, and why.
Well, ultimately, I'd like to create franchises of my own. I'd like to have brick and mortar establishments across the U.S. that are bringing me in income, that are selling the shoes, that have different dance classes, but are also media-based buildings used as a recording studio, photography studio, potential wedding venue. And this is something that Adam and I we were thinking about doing, and we looked at a lot of different properties, and we did put in offers for different properties. And I started seeing what it was like, this whole, like, what is it like to be an investor? What is it like to, look at these properties and see and project how your business will do, and how the operations will do in a brick and mortar. What location is the best location? What kind of traffic am I looking for people to see my business? All these different questions. And I realized that real estate is at the core of most everything in this economy. I mean, we all need a physical establishment to do something in, whether it's a house or an office. So I recognized real estate as a key part of this economy. So I figured, why not do commercial real estate where I can actively work with investors, people who want to do what I want to do, which is put their business in a physical place, or generate passive income from some sort of commercial apartment building, or like a quadplex, or like a multifamily, something of that sort, something to help them generate money. So I'm constantly on the phone with people who are asking about the cap rate, or I have to ask them, well, how is your business doing right now? Are you ready to make this next step? So it's a great way to get my feet wet into something that I'd love to get more into later as an investor myself, and just create a network of people who would be willing to put capital into something that they see will produce good results for them, which would be my business eventually. So just creating that network of people, of investors, and just having something that I feel confident in. I love to hunt down deals. I love to sell stuff. So I figured this would be a good place for me. And I guess I'm doing pretty good if I'm like 4 months in and I'm, starting to slowly get some deals in. Hey, so
you said you're closing on one today. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Congratulations.
High rise in downtown.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I never thought I'd be closing on a mobile home park or closing on, like a warehouse, but it's actually quite interesting. So I enjoy it.
Let me ask you, as we're kind of coming to the end here, because we are speaking to those entrepreneurs out there that are maybe they're in a job they don't want to be in anymore. They've always wanted to start that business, or they're in a business. They need that kind of encouragement, or that one kind of word that kind of helps them keep going. Because I know you've been in business for quite a while. There are some tough times when you go through it. So I always want to give whoever we have on just kind of an opportunity to speak directly to entrepreneurs, and I don't want to put you on the spot. You can take a second to think about it if you want to. What would you say to that entrepreneur first, who are the ones trying to make that decision of when to take the leap, if they should take that leap? And what would you say to an entrepreneur that's at the beginning of their business and sometimes trying to find that will to keep going? What would you say to those two types of entrepreneurs from your perspective and your experience?
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about goals, setting a goal and having steps to get there. If you've got steps, like literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if you've got those steps laid out, it's about sticking to that plan.
And
It's really just about sticking to that plan. Especially if you've got people in a position, they're more experienced than you. They know what they've been doing for hopefully like 40 years or something like that. And they've helped you create this plan. It's like, okay, I've got this plan because I'm feeling alone, or I'm feeling, downtrodden, or I'm feeling discouraged. Those feelings are meant to be there to push you to really come into the better version of yourself. Those feelings of insecurity, those feelings that are negative, that you just want them to stop, those are the things that are pushing you to become a better person and to persevere amidst these challenges. I mean, that is the hero's journey. You're going to run into problems, because owning your own business probably is one of the hardest things that some people have to do. It's certainly one of the hardest things that I've ever done. And that challenge will really show you the parts of yourself that you can improve and work on. And that's what life is. We're learning how to be better stewards of the earth. We're learning how to contribute to society, and we're learning how to create a foundation for our family in the future. So look at it that way. This is a school. Life is a school. And we're here to learn, and you've got to be confident in those decisions that you make, even if they end up being the wrong ones, because that is how you learn. Making a decision and moving forward is how you learn what works in this world and what does not work in this world. So if you're feeling discouraged, you have to understand that that is a normal part of the process, that you've made a plan. So there's no need to fear and feel like you're in chaos, because you do have a plan and you are at this stage, you are at this step, and you've got to just take the next step. Take the next step, one step after the other. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's one step after the other. It's not, what is my future? Oh my gosh. You've just got to keep going.
See, I think if you ever want to truly understand yourself, start your own business, because you're going to find out the good, the bad, and the ugly about you pretty quickly. You're going to find your weaknesses are going to be amplified. Your strengths are going to come down a little bit. It'll humble you. But I think when businesses fail is because we leave the basics. Plan. right? I think what makes a good entrepreneur is somebody that just drives and drives and they push and they push. That can also be the biggest downside because the plan can go too quickly out the window chasing squirrels, chasing that next bright, shiny object. And
How
you
do
get
you
so
maintain
overloaded.
the balance necessary? How do you maintain the balance necessary to keep the ship going? It's like, it's not just about you can't ever stop. It's also like, when do I need to take a step back? When do I need to seek counsel? When do I need to close my eyes and refresh myself so that I can keep this ship really going and not burn myself out?
I think there's a lie we tell ourselves as entrepreneurs. If I'm busy, I'm being successful. Because busyness so often is a distraction. It so often leads to not accomplishing anything. But we feel good at the end of the day because, man, I was packed full. Look at that calendar, right? Sometimes you're absolutely right. You got to step back. I'm reading a book right now, The Lean Startup. He talks about you have to kind of be comfortable with the factor, recognize the fact that as an entrepreneur, if you're not learning, you can't lead your company. And learning means sitting down, reading, or sitting down talking, or sitting down and researching, sharpening who you are. And that, as an entrepreneur, at the end of the day, doesn't make you feel accomplished all the time, right? Well, I read a book for 4 hours today. Or, I did, I didn't make me any money, right? But it's you're not a worker in your business. You are your business. You're the leader of your business. Taking that kind of temp, and where people fail so often, just what you said, Emma, we don't plan. When we find ourselves in failure, it's because we didn't plan, or we didn't stick to a plan. And it's those simple things that get in the way that are the first things to go. It's going back to those 12 rules of life. That book is so monumentally mind-blowing, but it is so magnificently simple. And it's when we let go of those simple things in life, those simple structures, we suddenly find ourselves out lost, somewhere. So it's returning to those kind of simple things. Well, Emily, I've absolutely loved this, and we're going to have you back because I want to see how things keep progressing with you, especially in real estate. We want to do quite a bit on real estate because, like you said, real estate is one of those kind of industries, and I think even this coming year, you're going to see some big movement in real estate.
Absolutely.
So I know there's a lot of people out there asking those questions. How do you do that? You don't put in an application to be a real estate agent. Really, it's not like a traditional job. There's different steps. There's different things to do. So I'd like to explore that a little bit. That we have several people that are in real estate in our entrepreneur spheres down here, and so I know people would love to hear. Now. Absolutely, people would love to hear that and be able to see on what that is, and I'd like to delve in a little bit. Maybe we'll have you back and we'll talk some hardcore real estate numbers and market trends and things like that, especially down here in the Panhandle area. Man, I tell you, the longer I'm here, the more I see how the Panhandle goes. The rest of the country seems to go. This is just exploding down here, and there's so many industries coming in around here, so it's a prime place to be. So. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for joining us, and we're going to have you back on soon, as soon as we can. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I truly enjoyed it. Thank you.